Welcome guys, got an interesting vehicle here today. Well, if you're a car owner you may have noticed it's missing a wheel, and if you're a bike owner you probably noticed it's gained the wheel. Yes, it's a trike. This is a BRP Can-Am Spyder. It's having a few issues with gearing. It's an automatic. It's got like a Tiptronic gear selectors on the handlebars. It won't go into reverse properly, and it's having a few issues going through the gearbox. So I'm going to get my computer on it and see if we can see what the issue is and see if we can resolve it for the customer. So I've got my computer set up. I've had to buy a special lead specifically for this vehicle. It only fits this BRP. Thankfully I've got 3 customers with these, so it may come in handy in the future. So we're going to open the front up. There's a little symbol there of a computer. So let's get this cover off. And there's our diagnostic plug. So we're ready to do the scan. I'm just going to turn the ignition on. First thing I'm going to try is a global scan. That doesn't mean we're going to scan the entire planet. Right at this moment, this BRP Can-Am is our whole world. So we're going to globally scan just that vehicle. So this is the new lead we've bought. So we're going to confirm that. Just takes a few minutes to go through the whole vehicle. So it's done a scan, it's found the chassis number and some of the control modules. The one we're interested in is the electronic transmission control unit, but it's telling me there's not one there. So the global scan hasn't really helped me. So we're going to just come back out, scroll down to automatic transmission and try and go back into it again. So let's select our lead. Okay, so we're in. Clearly see we have some fault codes. Invalid vehicle speed data from the engine control module. So that might have been the cause of all of this, but we don't know yet. Gear ratio incorrect. Well, it thinks that because it probably can't see the speed of the vehicle. The gear up and down button switch, so it could be a switch issue. So all of these could be a problem, but they can't all be a problem. There'll be a chain reaction of problems. Right, so I'm going to save this data. Then I'm going to clear it down and see if it makes a difference just by doing a reset. Right, so I've saved that data. So once I've cleared it, I have something to refer back to. There's the data I saved. So I'm just gonna I'm going to go back in and see if the faults are still there. Okay, those are clear. Let's go see what else we've got. That's just low brake fluid, so we'll just clear that. Just going to scan the engine because there was a complaint about information about vehicle speed from the engine control module. So we have gear ratio incorrect as well here, shift position sensor, no response from the vehicle control module, which is what we're in. So I'm just going to save this as well. Okay, I'm going to clear this down. So we've scanned it, we had some good fault codes, no valuable live data in there. I really wanted to see if the switches were working, but there's no live data for those. It also said in the transmission that it was in gear 1 when it's in neutral. There was also a complaint about the vehicle speed. I took the handbrake off and just pushed it backwards and forwards. I got a flicker at 1 kilometre an hour, so it's read something. I'm going to go get my lid, go for a road test in it, and come back and see if we've got anything of value there, and see if we can work around some new fault codes. So I've come back from the road test, everything seems okay, but we noticed there was a puddle on the floor. So taking this cover off, this is part of the actuation unit for the clutch unit, and we have oil residue in there. So we're going to take this apart, see if there's any marks or scoring in that cylinder. And if there is, then we'll order the parts accordingly. Right, there's two seals in here, one here, one here. This is flat as anything, it's not doing anything at all. There's a very slight wear marks in here, but I can't feel any ridges. So it looks like we just need a couple of seals, big one, small one. I'm going to measure this spring. There's a tolerance for these, minimum is 32 mil, and only about 33.5 mil. If it's below 32, then that's going to have to be replaced. Okay, so I've got my vernier, just going to measure this to see where we're at. So I'm measuring the two highest points, and we're at 29 mil, so we're 3 mil low. So we're going to need a spring, two seals. Also, this sleeve, just going to pull this out. Right, we have one seal behind there as well, and that's what this piston runs in. To be fair, I can feel that it's doing absolutely nothing. So we'll change that seal as well whilst we're here. So here we are on my tech data for this thing. This is the piston and the spring we took out. It shows individual bits of data for each individual component. So this is the spring that we took out. This is showing you measuring the spring. There's even tech data on that. So we have a service limit here of 32 millimeters, which is the height of the spring, and the new spring is between 32.5 and 33.5. So we're going to measure this again, see what the height limit was, and then we're going to compare it to the new one. Okay, got a new spring here, some new seals. It took us ages to get these. We had some wrong bits and wrong seals and bits and pieces turn up before. This is the spring they sent out, which is nowhere near the size of that one. So anyway, got the right spring. Some of you may know I do a lot of woodworking, so I use this for setting up a router or the table saw blade. So we're just going to use that to measure the height of the spring, and then we'll measure it to the new one and do a comparison. So as you can see, I got my depth gauge set to 0 to the table. Let's zero that out. So you can see it's on 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to put the spring underneath it, and we're just going to measure the highest point of the spring. Just touching it. Right, so the height of our spring is 29.1 millimeters, and the service limit was 32 millimeters. So this is well below the threshold. We've got our new spring, so we're just going to measure that. So it's just touching it. That's at 32.85. So the service limit, well, the new limit was 32.5 to 33.5. So we can see the difference. So this is the main piston ring seal. This only goes on one way. This was a seal for the outer ring. And that's a seal for here. Okay, this has a groove on the side that was facing forward, so we're going to make sure it goes the same way. Okay, so the piston's in. Up here we have a pressure retaining valve, so I'm just going to take that off, make sure there's no dirt or debris in there, and make sure it's all clean. The spring in there also has a service height, so we're going to make sure that's okay too. So I'm just measuring the spring here. The service limit for this spring is 36 millimeters. So this is too short. So you'll have to replace this. So we've got a new spring. New spring is between 38 and 39 mil, and you can see we're right in between that. So it's all back together, pistons in. It was a little bit tight getting the outer ring in. I just used the wooden end of my hammer just to tap against it, so push it in. I used wood so that I wouldn't mar the end of the aluminium casing. So it went in. It was tight, but it went in. Also the new spring on there, it was quite tough to push against, to try and get that Allen key bolt in the centre to start biting into the bolts on the outer side. Circuit's back in. I want you to see what's going to happen here. That's why I left the fairing and bits off. Once we start it up and the oil pressure builds up, you'll start to see that actuate. It works on the engine oil pressure. This does have a separate filter on the other side, which was done not long ago on a service, so we're going to leave that for now. It's got a self-bleeding system on there. On top of the gearbox there's a self-bleeding valve, so once the oil pressure starts to circulate, it'll build up pressure. This is the pressure relief valve, got the new spring in there, so hopefully it'll hold good pressure. The pressure on these is about 200 kPa, which is about 174, 175 psi, so there's quite a lot of pressure in there. So once the bike's running, it might be difficult to hear me trying to explain what's happening. If you can't hear me, or when I'm editing I can't hear myself, then I'll just put some subtitles on the bottom to say what's happening. I just tried to reverse from over there to here. It went back, stalled, and now it won't let me go into neutral. Well, whilst I'm doing this video, I thought, well, I'll quickly show you the exhaust as well. This is where it was blowing from. The gasket's absolutely annihilated. It's not even there anymore. It's an empty hole. And the other side's a bit difficult to see, but the gasket's still on there. It's actually still in the pipe. So we're just going to change this one, get it back together, and just do a quick MOT on it. So this is the gasket. It's a carbon gasket. So we're just going to slide it into the pipe and then push the pipe up. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This Can-Am, unusual job for us, we've never done one, so it was interesting for us. Hope it was interesting for you. As always, please hit that like button, it helps the algorithm for other people to enjoy these videos. Please subscribe, it's free. And as always, see you on the next one. Take care guys.